Hello everyone, it's Mary. Welcome back to the channel. We're going to have some fun with some glitter markers today. So this is my first set of glitter markers that I have. It's almost like a water brush pen. I'm sure you've seen the clear overlay glitter ones. Well, these come with color. So I'm super excited to show multiple ways to use them if you have these. They're not just a one trick pony, I suppose. So I'm going to show you real quick. There's a yellow piece in all of your markers that you're going to get. You're going to have to remove that. So unscrew it, remove it, put it back together. Your markers are ready if you just push them and let the ink come out. Now here are all the colors I'll be using today. This brand is from scrapbook.com, so you'll see if you want to look at them up close, there'll be links in the description box of the video. But let's just have some fun here. So I'm using watercolor cardstock and I'm showing you how beautifully they go down. So the first thing that I would recommend doing with these, if you have multiple colors, is to play with the rainbow. Oh my goodness, it was so fun. And the only thing I do not like about this video is it doesn't do it justice to see all of the shimmer and glitter coming from these markers because the camera doesn't pick it up as well. I try to show you when I show it to the light, but it really is like getting a full glitter overlay with the colors. It's so cool. I love them. And I use my glitter markers for so many accents on my cards. So it's really fun to have these in full colors. Okay, the next thing I want to share with you to use your markers for is to get ink smushing. So I'm going to place this down on my craft mat and I'm going to spritz it with water. I'm using primary colors here. So I'm going to show you two completely different looks for your markers. This is the same three colors. So first I'm going down and getting this really super bold color. Very dark. You can see the mixtures happening, the greens, the purples. But then I'm going back in and spritzing it, using watercolor cardstock again, and I'm picking it up and I'm going to get this beautifully pastel, soft look. And now I'm going to use this in a card at the end of the video. You're going to see a picture of it. But look at the difference between these two, and they're the same exact three colors. That's why primary colors, can never go wrong with primary colors. I always recommend that if you're buying new inks, start in the three colors, red, blue, and yellow. You see what mixes you can get. Okay, number 3 that you can do with these markers is actually color with them. So use them straight to paper. I'm using watercolor cardstock again. And you can put them straight down on paper. Now, I sped this up quite a bit just because this video would have taken way too long if I had not. And I'm going to go in with a water brush and pull that color from the markers where I put it first. Now, I laid it down in sort of where I would think the shadows were naturally happening with this tree. But don't overthink it. Just have a good time with it. Most recently, I did a live class for coloring, and that was one of the main things I talked about with the alcohol markers and with the real brush pens. Don't overthink it. Have fun. Places that you think naturally shadows might fall because they're covered, like the fronts of the branches are kind of laying over some of those branches. Well, underneath that, it's going to be a little darker. So start there and don't worry necessarily about outside light sources coming in. I think it just gets too complicated when we get overwhelmed by all of that that prospect. So yeah, so I'm using them to color. Now I'm going to go back and do a second layer. I don't keep the whole video in there on the second layer, but again, it's fun because this green has a sparkle to it. So now my Christmas tree has sort of this shimmer. It's really cool. So this is me after doing a second layer. So I let it dry and I went back and put in some other color. This green marker is really fun too because it almost has different kinds of green in it. It's got like your standard green and then almost like a tealish color. So it's pretty cool that it's all one marker. And then I'm just finishing up some coloring there, just showing you using those markers. So you can go straight to paper or you can put it on your craft mat and pick it up with a water brush. Either way, you probably have more control if you do it that way instead of going direct to paper. So here's my attempt at trying to get you to see the glitter that is on this cardstock. And it's frustrating me because I just know it's kind of coming through. So that one you can see a little bit. I see this is dry. So now it's not, that shimmer is not because it's wet. It's actually shimmering. So let's try this one. This one's completely dry and there we go. You can see that. Oh, it's so cool. Okay, so we're going to actually step into, after I'm showing you what the markers can do and just some multiple ways to use them, let's make a card. So I really wanted to use this background, and I actually made 2 of them. So I made one off camera, so now I have 2. And I really wanted to figure out a way to use it in a card, but I was having a little bit of a stump, or a slump, if you will, of what to do. So what I did was decided to make a die cut, sort of the focal point, while also using the other one. So from one of these cardstocks, I die cut Good Luck through it. I try to keep it straight because I want to use that look of the rainbows. I want it to pull into the die cut as well from the other card panel. So you'll see what I'm talking about here in a second. But I die cut that through this die cut is really cool because it's got 3 pieces to it. So it has the background shadow, then it has the smaller shadow, and then the intricate word. So I cut the rainbow out of the intricate word, black in the middle shadow, and then some holographic cardstock here in the bubble shadow. So now I'm trying to figure out, okay, how am I going to make this work? How do I want this to lay? And so I'm just kind of getting a lay of my die cut and how this is going to look together. I actually tried it without the black. I didn't like it. I do like that black shadow behind it. It does give it a little bit more of a pop. So I decided to keep it. And what's interesting about this, just in case you have these dies, the middle die goes directly in the center of the bubble shadow, but the intricate die cut actually goes a little bit off center. So it doesn't actually sit directly in the center. You're just getting this black shadow that kind of hangs off the side. So I hope you can see that because they don't line up perfectly in the middle. Now I'm going to take an oldie but a goodie die. I don't think I've touched this die in like a year, but I used it all the time when I first got it. It's just a hillside die, and it has a little bit of a, what is that called? Like a dotted line. So I'm going to run that through, and I'm just making this card a little bit more interesting. So don't forget about those little touches here. You know, if you have a die that you haven't pulled out in a while, it can add a lot to your project. If you just pull it back in, I see that to me is a lot more interesting than just a square cutoff on the top. Almost looks rainbowy. So now I've put some holographic cardstock behind, and I'm gonna lay out my die cut right there on the bottom. Now, unfortunately, I paused the video to go do something and then came back and was sure I was recording. Well, while I finished off this card, and I sure wasn't. So here's the finished card. Let's talk about it. I took some of these stars and sort of bright twinkly bits from a stamp set, and I popped up my sentiment on the bottom, and I really think this is cool. It came together, so like the bottom die cut is part of it all the rainbow coming down to the bottom. So that was the look I was going for. Hopefully that's what you got from it too. Like I said, everything I use in the video will be in the description box below, but let's look at some other projects that I did with these markers. Okay, so this next one was that soft background that you saw me make with the markers, and I wanted a big bold sentiment because I didn't want to cover up a lot of the background. I really wanted that to be the star of the show. So I just took 2 little coffee cups that I had from the pumpkin spice stamp set, added some color to those, used the markers to color them in, added some glitter glue, and finished off that card. And I did cut that out of a rectangle dotted line die. Okay, this one was fun. I actually did the background, and then I cut it in half because I thought this background was a little bit too much, and so I wanted to offset that with some stark white on the other side. I added some snowflakes I had in my stash, a sentiment there, very simple, and some pops of color in the glitter to finish it off. All right, that'll do it for this video. I hope this inspired you to pull out your glitter markers if you have them and just have fun with them and just get to being creative, because that's what it's all about. I will list everything I used in the description box of the video, and I will see you all in the comments down below and in the next video. Bye-bye. If you liked this video, don't forget to give it a thumbs up and subscribe so you don't miss more, and you might like these videos on the screen as well, so check them out.